Hi Brian, this is Keaton Everett from ABC going over your pitching video from the spring break camp. We're going to go through and just kind of take a look at what you're doing through a couple key points in your delivery and your motion, and just kind of give you a few pointers to help yourself kind of utilize more of your strength, your hips, keep you in a little bit better position to deliver the ball in a little bit healthier of a spot. Alright, so let's go back to the start and just initially take a look at how we're setting up. Alright, we always want to set up in the same spot. We want to have the same timing. We want the same motion. We want the consistency of the delivery, the consistency of mechanics. And as you can see, where we're setting up right here with our feet, alright, you can see how that foot is turned, at almost a 45-degree angle to the rubber. And what we want is we want, now all that force is directed kind of towards the dugout on the third base side. And then we're going to have to fight against it to get everything towards the plate. So we want to set up already in a nice position to go straight towards home plate. So if we can get that foot bumped back a little bit more lined up with the rubber, that's going to get you in a little bit better position to start off right off the bat. Alright, so as we go through looking at your posture, your balance, alright, you stay really well over that back leg. Okay, a lot of times you're going to see kids lift that leg up and they immediately start going forward, but you're staying up over that back leg throughout your leg kick. Alright, now what I'd like to see a little bit more of is to start forward with these hips a little more quicker as that leg starts to go down, instead of letting that leg go down and then the hips go. So we just want to start those hips a little bit quicker. Alright, staying over that back leg again, good. But again, with that back leg pointed more towards the catcher, you're going to be able to load up a little bit better on the inside part of that knee, instead of having everything, your knee pointed back here. We're going to be able to get it to point. Oh, I have to use the other arrow. We're going to get it to point forward instead. Alright, we just want all that direction going forward towards the catcher, and nothing wasted, nothing working against. Alright, so just getting that back leg in a little better position. Alright, but you're staying back over that back hip really well. Alright, and what you're doing though is you're swinging this left leg out, opening up early. Alright, so you're swinging it out front, and if we were to draw a line kind of from that back leg or that back foot forward, you're going to see there's a little bit of daylight between there. If you're going to draw a line right from the balls of your right foot straight down the mound, you're going to be landing somewhere around that line, and that just gets your hips in a better position. It keeps everything closed longer, so you can generate more power and velocity. Alright, so you're opening up early, just close up that front leg a little bit. Alright, let's go back and look at what your arms are doing. Okay, you're getting that elbow really high above your shoulder, which is getting to put a little bit of stress on that shoulder capsule. Alright, when we get up in this position. Alright, a lot of times when you're getting up in that position, pitching that supraspinatus, that rotator cuff, alright, that's going to lead to some arm problems down the road. Okay, so what we want to do in this position, if you notice your fingertips on the baseball here, alright, your hand never gets in front of the ball. Alright, it's always on the side. You're seeing the ball, seeing the ball, seeing the ball, seeing the ball. In this position, at foot strike, we'd like to see your elbow or your back arm here somewhere, a little bit of bend in there, and then you got your fingertips in front of the ball here, instead of having the ball showing. Alright, so if that makes sense, almost if your fingertips are facing towards the hitter, and that just creates a little more torque that keeps your elbow less exposed, it keeps your shoulder less exposed, it just kind of gets everything in a little bit better position. So if we can match up this backside a little bit better with that front side, instead of adducting it so high up above your shoulder level, that's going to get you in a little bit better position. So just go ahead and take this from here, drop it a little bit down here, add that angle, get those fingertips on top of the ball, so now you can get on top, drive the ball downhill. Alright, glove side, you can see, is pretty good. Alright, we want to keep that glove out as long as we can over that front foot, but what you're kind of fighting yourself against is you're not letting that elbow rotate down. All right, you're watching this, watch this elbow angle here, and you just kind of keep that elbow angle and rotate it down. What we want to see is, we want to see that elbow out here. All right, this is fine. And then as you rotate forward, you start rotating that elbow down and moving the glove up as you progress along throughout your delivery. All right. So instead of just kind of rotating the glove down, you start rotating that elbow out while keeping that glove out in front of your body. Okay. Next thing we're going to look at is your hip-shoulder separation, and you actually are getting a pretty good hip-shoulder separation for your age. I've seen a lot of kids whose hip and shoulder are rotating at the same time, but as you can see, you have a little bit of separation. All right, that hip's coming forward and that arm staying back a little bit. All right, there's still a little bit of room for improvement there, where you're getting that hip through the zone first and then that shoulder's coming through, but you're on the right track there. That's pretty good. All right, so the more we can get this elbow to rotate down, that's going to make that hip shoulder separation a little bit easier. All right, and another big thing that I'm seeing through your release is watch how your back leg is collapsing. All right, your back leg is collapsing down, and you're almost straight up when you're releasing the ball. All right, we're going to mark where you're releasing the ball at, right here. You can see your hands, fingertips on the side of the ball. We want those behind the ball. We want that ball being driven down the hill. All right, so we're going to mark where you're releasing the ball. All right. Okay, so see how you're releasing. You're almost straight up. What we want to see is to go from this position. We want you to drive, keep that back leg on the ground, drive through those toes, and keep this angle straight all the way through that leg, all the way through that spine, all the way through that body, to put your head more in that position where you're releasing the ball here. And now that arm's going to go and release the ball out farther out in front of that front foot. All right, so now in this release position, we want to go from this first line we drew to the release and drive through that back leg more to get more of that angle to get out front and take it from this release to out here. All right, what that's going to do is going to drive the ball harder down the hill. It's going to get more movement, more velocity, and better when you start throwing breaking balls, better break on that breaking ball stuff. All right, so just make sure, especially when you're playing catch, that you're throwing and you're finishing with that chest down over that front foot, and you can even work on your balance and each throw, get that chest down over that front foot, release the ball, and just hold it out there to try to balance. All right, just throw and then work on getting this chest from here, moving it out here, and trying to hold your balance with that leg up off the ground, and hold your balance out here, and just finish, completely where your back's, you're basically in a T position. All right, and just finish out there to work on getting that chest out over that front foot. We want to have that chest out here, driving the ball at more of an angle downhill as opposed to where you're at right here. All right, but other than that, pretty good. Hope you had a great time at camp and you learned a lot, and have a great season this year, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.